My name is Jack. I am 81 years old. I want to tell you a story. It is a story from many years ago. I was only 5 years old when my father died. That night was cold, and the rain was falling hard. I did not understand much, but I knew something was wrong. My mother sat beside my father's bed, holding his hand and crying quietly. I sat in the corner, watching her tears fall like the rain outside our window. When morning came, my life changed forever. My father was gone, and only silence stayed in the house. My mother did not speak much that day. She held me in her arms and kissed my head. I looked at her face and saw both pain and strength. She had to be both mother and father now. I did not understand everything, but I felt her love, strong like a warm fire on a cold night. After my father died, life became very hard. My mother had no help, no job, and no rest. Every day, she woke up early, worked all day, and came home late. She cleaned houses and washed clothes for other people. Sometimes, she walked many miles with tired feet. She never complained. She smiled at me and said, "We will be okay," even when her hands were shaking. I remember one winter night. We had no heater, and the wind was strong. I was cold and scared. My mother gave me her only blanket and held me close. She sang a quiet song to help me sleep. Her voice was soft, but it was stronger than the wind. That night, I knew something. My mother was the strongest person in the world. She gave me love when we had nothing else. Now, I am 70 years old. I sit in my chair and close my eyes. I still see my mother's face in my mind. I still feel her hands holding mine. Many years have passed, but I never forgot those days. I never forgot her strength, and I want to tell you the rest. I want you to know what she did, how she lived, and how her love changed everything. My mother worked in many homes. She washed dishes, cleaned floors, and cooked food. Her hands were always busy, but she never looked weak. Every night, she came home with tired eyes, but she still made dinner for me and smiled. She would ask about my day, even when she had no energy. I did not know how she did so much. She was like a mountain, strong and still. Sometimes, we did not have enough food. My mother gave me her part and said she was not hungry. Elle knew she was lying, but I ate because she told me to. She always put me first. Even when she had nothing, she gave me everything. She told me, "One day, you will grow strong. You will help others, too." I listened to her voice and believed her words. On my first day of school, my mother walked with me. I wore old clothes, but they were clean. She smiled and said I looked handsome. I was scared, but her smile helped me feel brave. At the gate, she hugged me and said, "Learn well, my son." I watched her walk away with slow steps. I wanted to run after her, but I stood still, like she taught me. Years passed, and I studied hard. I wanted to make her proud. I knew her work paid for my books and clothes. She never went to school, but she believed in learning. Every test I passed, I showed her. She smiled, touched my head, and said, "I am proud of you." That made me happier than any prize. One day, I came home early and saw her sleeping. Her hands were red and dry. Her face looked older than before. I sat beside her and watched her sleep. I thought about all the years she worked for me. She gave me a life. She gave me a future. I wanted to do something for her, too. I wanted to give back the love she gave me every single day. As I grew older, I began to understand her pain more. I saw how hard it was for her to walk each morning. Her shoes were old, and her back often hurt. Still, she woke up before the sun and left the house without a word. She never asked for help. She only asked me to study, to grow strong, and to never give up. That was her only dream for me. Sometimes, I woke up early just to watch her. I saw her drink tea alone before leaving for work. She looked out the window with tired eyes. I wanted to hug her and say thank you, but I was a boy, and boys often say nothing. So, I watched in silence. I watched and promised myself that I would become someone she could be proud of. By the time I was a teenager, I started working, too. I found small jobs after school to help with money. My mother told me to focus on school, but I knew she needed help. I gave her what I earned, and she cried the first time. "You are my good boy," she said. That night, we ate better food. We laughed. It was one of the happiest nights I remember. One day, she fell while walking home. Her foot was swollen, and she could not walk well. I told her to rest, but she still tried to go to work the next day. I had to hide her shoes so she would stay home. She finally sat down, and we talked for hours. She told me stories from her youth. It was the first time I saw her as more than just a mother. She was once a girl with dreams. She wanted to travel and see the world, but life was not kind to her. She gave up everything to raise me. She never said she was sad, but I saw it in her eyes that day. And I made a new promise. I promised I would do something special for her one day. I promised I would give her the life she never had. After I finished school, I got a job in a small office. It was not much, but it was enough to help my mother more. I gave her my first pay, and she held it with shaking hands. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and said nothing. That silence meant everything. It was the first time she did not have to worry about money. It was the first time I saw her rest. With time, our life got better. I bought her new clothes and warm shoes. I fixed the roof and painted the walls. She smiled more often. Her face looked softer, her eyes more peaceful. On her birthday, I gave her a small gold ring. She cried again and said, "No one ever gave me a gift before." I felt proud, but also sad. She waited so long for something so simple. One year, I saved enough money to take her on a trip. It was a small town by the sea. She had never seen the ocean before. When she saw the water, she stood still for a long time. Then, she smiled, like a child seeing something magical. We walked on the sand, we ate fish, and we laughed. That trip was short, but it stayed in her heart forever. Years passed, and I grew older. I got married, and we had children. My mother lived with us. She helped raise my kids with love and care. She told them stories, made them food, and held them when they cried. My children loved her deeply. They called her Grandma Hero. That name made her smile every time. She had given so much, and now love came back to her. But even heroes get tired. My mother became weak with age. Her hands shook more. Her steps were slow. I took care of her, just like she cared for me. I made her tea. I helped her walk. I sat beside her when she was sick. She looked at me and said, "You kept your promise." And I said, "You gave me the strength to do it." Her health grew worse with time. She stayed in bed more often. Her voice became soft, and her eyes closed often during the day. But even in pain, she smiled when I entered the room. She held my hand like before. I sat beside her and told her everything was okay. I read to her, told her stories, and played soft music. She said, "I like your voice. It makes me calm." One morning, I made her favorite tea and brought it to her room. She was looking out the window with quiet eyes. She said, "It's a beautiful day." I sat next to her, and we talked about my childhood. She remembered every little thing. She laughed at old memories, and I laughed with her. That morning felt special. It felt like time had slowed down just for us. Later that week, she fell asleep and did not wake up. She left this world with peace on her face. I sat alone in the quiet room, holding her hand one last time. My heart was heavy, but I was also thankful. Thankful for every year, every day, every moment I had with her. I knew I had been loved deeply. I knew I had been raised by a hero. After her funeral, I walked alone in the old neighborhood. I passed the houses she once cleaned, the roads she walked for hours. Every place held a memory. I saw her in everything. The trees, the sky, the wind. She was gone, but she was still everywhere. I felt her strength in my steps, her love in my heart. She had become a part of me forever. Now, when I see my grandchildren, I tell them about her. I tell them how one woman's love changed everything. I tell them how strong she was, how kind, how brave. They listen with wide eyes and soft smiles. They never met her, but they love her through my words. And I know, as long as her story lives, my mother will never truly be gone. Now, I am 70 years old. My hair is white, and my hands are slow. I sit by the window, just like my mother did. I watch the sky and think about life. I remember every moment with her. I still hear her voice in my mind. She tells me to be strong, to be kind, to never stop loving. Her words guide me even now. I am still her son. Sometimes, I dream about her. In my dreams, she is young again. She laughs, walks fast, and holds my hand. We sit under a tree and talk. I tell her about my life, and she listens. She smiles and says, "I always knew you would be okay." I wake up with tears in my eyes, but I smile, too. Those dreams feel real. They feel like gifts. When people ask about my life, I talk about her. I say, I had a mother who was also my father. She raised me alone. She gave me love, strength, and hope. They listen in silence. Some people cry, some people smile. Everyone feels her story, because her love was simple, and simple love is strong. Strong enough to touch hearts forever. I write her name in my notebook. I keep her ring in a box. I tell my family about her every week. My children and grandchildren know her story well. They respect her, even if they never met her. They carry her lessons with them. Her spirit lives on in our home, in our hearts. She left the world, but not our lives. And now, dear friend, I thank you for listening. This was not just my story. It was her story. A story of a mother who gave everything. A story of love, of strength, of hope. I hope you carry her memory, too. Maybe you have someone like her. Maybe you will become someone like her. Never forget, the quietest people often leave the deepest mark.